Super Rugby Aoteaora. What a historic game we just witnessed. The Crusaders took on the Highlanders at home. And for the first time in the season, the Crusaders lost. Is this going to be the only game Crusaders lose this season? Like last season where they lost to the Hurricanes? Or is there more to come? We'll have to wait and see. But what an exciting game. What an exciting game. Crusaders at home. The commentators, I think Israel Dag said one of the commentators put like $100 on Hurricanes to win. And I think it was Israel Dag. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm putting $100,000 for Crusaders to win. I don't kind of have shouts on me afterwards." Hopefully, he didn't put $100,000 on Crusaders. That's a lot of money. He would have lost a lot of money. Some dude apparently put $10,000 for Crusaders to win. So some guy lost $10,000 tonight. Yeah, one of the commentators, I don't know his name, but he said he put $100 on Highlanders, and he was paying like $7 for the win. So he's just like, $700 richer, yeah, Israel Dag was like, "Yeah, I'm putting $100,000 on Crusaders to win. We'll talk about it." So hopefully he was just joking. Hopefully he didn't lose $100,000. Because, that would have been so stupid if you did put that much money on Crusaders to win. I mean, Crusaders were hugely favorites to win this game. They haven't lost in this season. They were looking really, really strong. Their 4-pack was looking like the best 4-packs in the competition. And, Highlanders played really well. They neutralized the Crusaders 4-pack. Avoided scrummaging. Avoided set pieces for the Crusaders. Put a lot of pressure on the Crusaders with kicks. Really well placed kicks, so that Crusaders had to play from their own half a lot, and forced a lot of just penalties, little mistakes out of the Crusaders, and walked away with a very, very good performance. And I think this is the biggest winning margin for the Highlanders over the Crusaders, like ever. So congratulations for the Highlanders, and oh god, $100,000 down the drain. I sincerely hope that he was joking about $100,000, because that would be so stupid. Anyway, so let's go through the game and see what actually happened. So right from the start, the Highlanders were just on the get-go was just smashing the Crusaders. From the kickoff, there was a bit of controversy. The referee in this game, it's pretty bad. The referee was pretty bad. I felt like there were times where it's just baffling, like how the referee was, both the TMO and the on-field referee are not very good. Like, New Zealand rugby needs to put more, and it's not the referee's fault. Like, it's not the referee's fault that they're bad. It's because they haven't been given the right amount of training from New Zealand rugby. If you're not trained well enough, you're not going to make the right decision on the field. I'm 100% sure the referees are not out there to screw over one team or the other. They're out there to try to do their best, but they make the wrong decisions on the field because they haven't been given the adequate support from New Zealand rugby. It's not because they're biased or they're getting paid up by one team. I highly doubt a professional referee would be like that. So right from the kickoff, I think this is right from the kickoff, it might not be on kickoff, but anyway, there was a high ball or a kickoff or something. So one of the player runs in, right from the start, he jumps in, the Highlander player jumps in there to get the ball, and the Crusader player was coming in to challenge the ball, and there was a Highlander player in front of the Crusader player, so there was a guy illegally blocked the Crusader player a little bit. It wasn't that illegal, he was going on his line, so he didn't change his line. So technically, he wasn't intentionally making a foul, but he did block the Crusader player. So, and then the Crusader player kind of shuffles his way past the blocking player whilst the other Highlander player was in the air, he like basically grabbed him by the leg and like just chucked him on the ground. He just, and the Highlander player just like fell on the ground with his back hitting the ground, like looked really painful. He was like on the ground, and the referee had to like stop the game to make sure he wasn't hurt. So they went to the TMO to see what was happening. So the rule is, if there is a foul play, like dangerous play, like whether you like, you know, like tackling someone in the air, or like I guess anything that could constitute like a card offense, is overrides all the like on-field penalties. That's the rule. Like if there's or like for example, a typical example would be, say something happens, there's a penalty, and players starts to like shuffle each other, like pushing each other, and someone throws a punch. Whoever throws that punch overrides the penalty. That's the penalty the referee should go for, because that's a foul play. That's a like dangerous foul play. So the same thing happened. The player's getting tackled in the air. That's a dangerous play. That should be the penalty. And the referee looks at the replay, and the referee had this conversation. I kid you not. The referee had a conversation with the TMO. Like, they're like, yeah, that's clearly a penalty. And they're both just like, what are you talking about? You're talking about the height, the tackle in the air, or you're talking about the player blocking the player blocking the Crusaders? And they're both just like, not sure which penalty they're even talking about. They're just like, are you talking about the referee says, yeah, that is clearly a penalty. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I'm seeing the replay. That's a penalty. Yeah, I agree with you. It is a penalty. And then the TM was like, which one are you talking about? You talking about the tackle in the air, or are you talking about the anyway? They have no clue. The referee's like, okay, we're gonna go for the first penalty where he was blocked. The Highlander player blocked Crusaders player illegally. And even the commentators are like, that's wrong, because the high tackle is a dangerous play. That overrides the so-called illegal blocking. Like, it's just, anyway, New Zealand rugby, it's so disappointing to see such a high quality game, and the referee is just like so like subpar for a competition. Like, it's really disappointing, actually. Quite frankly, the competition deserves better, the fans deserves better, the players deserves better, and New Zealand rugby needs to put more investments into their referee, better training, better support for them. And it's 100% not their fault that they're making the wrong decisions on the field. It's just a lack of training and support. Anyway, the game plays on. Highlanders is able to manage the game really well. Every time they had an opportunity, they put pressure on the Crusaders. They get an opportunity for a penalty, they took the points. So right away, you can tell that Highlanders were not going to make the same mistake that the Blues made last week, where they try to go for tries every time and then end up losing and not taking the opportunity at 3 points. So Highlanders managed to get themselves on the ball 3 points at a time. And 23 minutes of the game, Highlanders crashes over for the first try. So Highlanders were applying pressure. Crusaders were falling apart here. The penalty count was just like stacking up against the Crusaders at this point. Like just around the first quarter of the game, Highlanders were just putting pressure on. And then if it's in range to kicks, they take the 3 point, applying on-field and scoreboard pressure. 25 minutes in, the Highlanders were just piling in pretty close to try. And Highlanders spreads out wide. The number 7 from Highlanders got the ball on the wing. He runs up, and there's 3 players in front of him. 3 players running across, including, I think, Mwanga. They all ran across thinking that he was going to go for the corner, and he just, like, stepped in, and 3 Crusader players all, like, overran the defense. They're all just, like, slipped, and tried to come back in to make a tackle. And then, number 7 Highlanders just cuts in with a beautiful line and scores a try. First try for Highlanders on the 23rd minute. Hunt converts the kick, and, Highlanders start off beautifully in the first half. And then Highlanders had another penalty. So Highlanders had 2 penalties before this try. Another penalty, 33 minutes, all converted by Hunt. I think Hunt missed 1 kick in the first half. So Highlanders were up at this point 3 conversions and a try. So that is 16 points to 0. And then going to halftime, the clock's just ticking down. And then everyone's like, all the commentators like, we can't remember the last time Crusaders walked off first the field without any points. And sure enough, when the clock is red, Crusaders had a full-on penalty And, instead of taking the 3 points, Crusaders did exactly what Crusaders done best throughout the years. They put the pressure on, took the line out, and the line out comes in. The Highlanders did really well to stop the rolling maul. And then the Crusaders just ran the ball a couple times. Cody Taylor, he got the ball eventually, runs around the corner and crashes through for a try. He was like determined to score that. Like, he wasn't gonna go into the changing room with 0 points on the ball for the Crusaders. So he was just charged through, scores a try just next to the goalpost. Crusaders had the first try. Mwanga converts. And that's the end of the first half. So at this point, Highlanders are leading, but everyone's thinking, okay, Crusaders are going to come back. Come on, there's no way. Second half starts, and he has settled quite a bit. The Crusaders were able to apply a bit of pressure, a bit back and forward. It was all the way up until 20 minutes into the game. On the 57th minute, Collins for Highlanders scores the first try on the second half. Okay, so before that, Highlanders had a penalty again. They took the 3 points, and then Collins scores the first try for Highlanders in the second half. And this is another one where it's kind of just like, let me see what happened there. Let me just jog my memory. Yeah, so this is again another thing where the Crusaders messed up like a line out, and the Highlanders just kicked the ball into the Crusaders half, and then Crusaders were just they were just like under too much pressure. And then eventually Highlanders were just able to turn that into building more pressure, building more phases. And eventually they just push us over for a try. And this was just like huge for the game, because the Crusaders has been known to score points right out of the gate in the second half, and they didn't. And Highlanders were the first one to score points in the second half. So both a try and a penalty. So it was just really good management from the Highlanders. And the commentators were really mentioning like the Crusaders aren't able to play into any of their strength in their 4-pack, in their lineouts, in their scrums. Highlanders have been able to avoid a lot of that throughout the game, just by not giving us silly knock-ons, trying to keep the ball in play. Just perfect management of the game. And then the game played on, and the Crusaders really started building, really trying to come back. All the way to the 68th minute, Crusaders able to score their second try of the game through Havili. They were basically, again, this is the typical Crusader try. They were building pressure, and then eventually they were just like crashing. Eventually the ball goes over. There was just too much pressure applied basically by the Crusaders. Havili crashes over. So at this point, this is another like terrible refereeing at this point. Like, again, this is like infuriating to watch, because Crusaders at this point, there's about 10 minutes left. There were 2 tries behind. Highlanders missed one of the conversions. So if Crusaders had scores 2 tries and hits all the conversions, then the Crusaders will actually win by 2 points. So it's 10 minutes, and then they just scored a try. They have pretty much time to score 2 more tries in 10 minutes. It's definitely doable. We've seen Crusaders done that before. So at this point, it's just like, Aaron Smith suddenly goes, oh, referral, there's a knock-on just leading up to the try in the ruck before it. And then there was so the try's been scored, as you can imagine. There's replays of the try leading up to it. And one of the replays, it did look like there was a little bubble that somebody might have knocked on the ball. I think it was one of the second rowers. When the guy released the ball, it looked like the guy released the ball, and one of the Crusaders loose forward, or maybe second rower, he kind of he didn't pick up the ball and ran. He kind of shifted the ball back, moved the ball back for the halfback to pick up to get the ball out. And it looked like as he was trying to pick up the ball and move it back, it looked like he knocked it on. It looked like he either knocked it on, or he kind of as he was patting the ball back, the ball kind of he either looked like he knocked on, or he patted the ball, that the ball rolled back a little bit. So So Aaron Smith was like, we're gonna have a look. And you wouldn't freaking believe this. Like, I almost just wanted to like punch the TV at this point. Yeah, I almost wanted to punch the TV at this point. Okay? The referee goes, all right, we'll have a captain's referral, which is a new thing they added in rugby if you didn't know. So the captain referral to check it for knock on. They go upstairs, right? There are all these angles that they just showed. They literally just showed all these camera angles leading up to the try because everyone thought it was scored. And then instead of looking at any of the angles that they were literally just showing like 20 seconds ago, right? They went, the TMO goes, all right, I'll have a look. And you showed the angle from like the farthest angle they could have found, like the one in the air that's way up in the back of the stands that looks like over the entire field. He looked at the far camera, and that's the only camera the TMO looked at. Like, it has to be a joke. Like, at this point, I could not believe what I just saw. This has to be a joke. He looked at all. He looked out of all the camera angles he could possibly look. He looked at the one that's furthest away in the middle of the field, that looks over the entire field, with the ball the size of a grain of rice on the screen, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we can't really see. We can't see. There's no based on what we just saw there, we can't see there was knock on. There's no conclusive evidence." Come on, dude. Like, you had to be the biggest moron to think you can get away with that. If the game, like, if Crusaders came back from that and like won the game, like, it just, I don't know. Like, it's so bad. It's so bad. You literally just showed highlights of people, like, this try being scored right in, like, zoomed in right next to, like, you know, right next to the cameras, right next to the sideline, showing, like, zoomed in try being scored. And then you go to way back out, a camera that's way out. You can't even see the numbers on the player's shirt. Actually, you probably can. But, like, it's just like, and then you're like, oh yeah, we can't see. The camera angle doesn't show conclusively that there's a knock on. And even on that angle, it looked a bit fishy, to be honest. Even on that angle, the one that's furthest out you can find, the ball looked like a little bit shaky. Okay? So please, like, if you know somebody that works at New Zealand Rugby, please tell them to, like, train the referees better. Like, this is preposterous. This is just preposterous. You can't possibly tell me that was a fair look at the captain's challenge. You had to be trolling people to do that. You had to be trolling to do that. To look at the worst camera angle you could possibly find and say, yeah, inconclusive. Anyway, Crusader scores that. Richie Mo'unga tried to rush the kick and he missed, which was pretty bad because they really needed that to win. If he hadn't missed, that means they have to score like an extra try to actually beat Highlanders. So it was really, it was not good. And it wasn't like a super hard kick as well. It was like, he just like rushed it and he missed the kick. Anyway, 73rd minute in, Crusaders were like trying to run out of their own half. And Highlanders were applying pressure. And eventually I think there was a knock on or something. And Highlander just like ran away with the ball. And then I think one person like chipped forward. Bishop. He like chipped the forward. And the ball like bounced. He just like caught it and ran through and then scored a try. Like another try just from Crusaders' mistake. And then he just like ran away and scores a try. And then they went up and tried to look for a knock on against the Crusaders. It was like, so obviously there was no knock on. He just like broke free, run through. The other guy, it was defender, like grabbed him. He like fell on his legs and they went up to see that with like zoomed in angles. Oh, to see if he knocked the ball on. Oh, I think he knocked the ball. Ooh. Oh, the referee is so bad. Like, it's disgraceful. Disgraceful. But anyway, that try puts it at 73rd minute, puts a nail in the coffin. Biggest win for the Highlanders against the Crusaders. Yeah. Like sometimes, honestly, sometimes I really want to watch New Zealand rugby because the talent is so good, and I love doing like reviews on the New Zealand on the New Zealand competition, and just like every time I do them, this just like the refereeing, it's so subpar. I just feel like I'm ranting, and like I don't want to talk about a game where the referees. I don't want to watch a game when the referee is so horrible. It's like, it really makes the competition look bad. It doesn't make the competition look professional. Like these bad referee decisions where a captain referral, he just treated like a joke and showed the camera angle from the furthest camera he can find. It's just preposterous. Like, and then he showed one angle. He didn't even show another one. Just one. Yeah, okay, we can't see this knock on. It's I don't know. New Zealand rugby, the way that you're operating, it's not gonna win you any fans. Like that's the stuff that turns people off. When you have referees that do these things that could have potentially ruined, like, probably the game of the season. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys later with an Australian Super Rugby review. Cheers.